back. We are the Honolulu Blues, presented by Autograph and Pink. We are, as always, Nick Faber, Adam Stark, Julius Porter, and we are here to talk about the Detroit Lions, Washington Commanders bout. Saturday night showdown, dude. It don't get much better than this on Divisional weekend. I can't wait, boys. It was so nice having a break. Last week we did a show, but geez Louise, we were just doing a bunch of fun topics. Now we're getting back to the nitty-gritty of it. We got a great show for you today. First and foremost, so I do want to talk a little bit about our Pistons, about our Red Wings. They are still doing their thing. Couple tough losses here and there, but a lot of good wins. Michigan and Michigan State basketball doing their thing as best as they can. I think Michigan may have just lost, but I can't remember.
They lost on like a half-court buzzer beater.
To Minnesota, right?
To Minnesota. I thought
you brutal.
I was reading that. But Michigan State keeps winning, so, life is good. Life is good. On that, like I said, we're going to be talking about this game. That's pretty much what we have in store. We are just talking about Washington, Detroit. Before we do that, we did have a little bit of a game. We're going to play Stump the Schwab. You boys want to play?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm going to have a question, a category. There's going to be around 15 to 20 players in that category. We are going to go one by one. Adam, then Julius, then Adam, then Julius, then Adam, or Julius, Adam, Julius, and until someone repeats a name or says a name that's just not on the list, they lose. Whoever the other person is has to, no matter what, answer another person on the list to win the category, or it is just a wash. You will only have about 5 seconds to answer. If you cannot answer, then you are out. The other person gets to answer one more, and then we'll move on to the next category. We have 4 categories. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Ready up.
We'll see how this works. I don't know how this is going to work. All right. The last time the Lions played the Washington team, Commanders football team, Redskins, was September 18th, 2022. Detroit won that game 36-27. And in that game, Jared Goff and Carson Wentz connected with 15 different pass catchers combined. We are going to name the 15 players who caught a ball. One by one, first player to repeat a name or get one wrong loses. Adam, heads or tails?
Heads.
It is tails.
Never fail. What am I thinking?
So, Julius, you can either go first or go second. Up to you.
I'll go first.
All right, so we are looking for players who caught a ball during the 2022 Detroit Lions Washington football game. One player.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
St. Brown is on the list.
I'm gonna go. Oh, man. I'm gonna go bold here. Cliff Raymond.
And we are out already.
No!
Cliff Raymond did not catch a ball.
Can I
Julius,
get another?
though, you do have to name one, or you can just name as many as you want.
The great T.J. Hockenson.
T.J. Hockenson did catch a ball.
God, I was trying to think of our tight end, and I couldn't think of Hawk. And I wanted to say Brock Wright, but I was like, I don't think Brock Wright's.
I will quickly name all the rest that you could have answered. John Bates, which looks like Jay Bates. It's great. Jahan Dotson, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, Terry McLaurin, Steve Milne. I don't know who that is. Craig Reynolds, Josh Reynolds, Curtis Samuel, DeAndre Swift, Logan Thomas, and Brock Wright. And Julian up 1-0 after the quickest Stump the Schwab category of all time.
I'm sick.
And now Adam will be going first. The next category number 2, since the 2021 season, so 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, all included, including this year, the Lions and Commanders have combined to send 19 players to the Pro Bowl. Let's name 19 players one by one, starting from 2021 through this year. Adam, you're up first.
We go right back at you, Julius. Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is on that list.
I'm going to go Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson is on that list.
I'm going to go Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is on that list. Make sure we turn comments off.
I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs is on that list.
The Brian Branch.
Brian Branch is on that list.
Panay Sewell.
Panay Sewell is on that list.
Frank Ragnow.
Frank Ragnow is on that list.
I'm going to try a commander. Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin is on that list.
Oh, so we're doing okay. Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is on that list.
Give me Khalif Raymond.
Khalif Raymond is not on the list. All pro, not Pro Bowler.
He didn't make a Pro Bowl.
He did not make a Pro Bowl. Adam has to answer one right.
Let's go Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta is on that list.
I should have just said Sam Laporta. I don't know why I tried to be smart with Raymond.
The other guys we could have said,
both of us.
the other guys we could have said are Jonathan Allen, Jack Fox, Jonah Jackson, Daron Payne, Jalen Reeves, or something Reeves for Washington, Jalen Reeves-Maben for Detroit, Brandon Sheriff, Montez Sweat, and Terrace Way, the Washington punter. Tressway, that's what it is. Thank you. All right, 1-1. We got 2 categories to go. Since the year 2000, the turn of the century, the Detroit and Washington have played each other 11 times. Detroit leads the record of those 11 games, 7-4. There has also been 17 combined quarterbacks for both teams to throw a pass during the Lions versus Washington games. In the last 11 games since 2000, there have been 17 quarterbacks to throw a pass during these games, combined for both teams total. Let's name those 17 quarterbacks. Julius, we are starting with you.
Let's go with Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is on that list.
Let's go with the guy we already mentioned, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is on that list.
Let's go with the guy who's probably attempted the most passes in Lions history, Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford is on that list.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell never started a game versus the Lions.
What?
But I'll quickly – oh, no, because Julius has to answer one more.
I'm going to go with the Lion, and I'm going to say Joey Harrington.
Joey Harrington is on that list. Other answers could have included Charlie Batch, quarterback coach right now, Mark Brunell, Jason Campbell, Kirk Cousins, Jeff Driscoll, Robert Griffin, Rex Grossman, Dwayne Haskins, Brad Johnson, John Kitna, Donovan McNabb, Dan Orlovsky, and Alex Smith.
McNabb.
Long list.
2-1. We got it. It's for Adam here. He's going first, and he's got to at least create a tie. We are heading back to COVID times for this one, when the Lions beat Washington 30-27 on November 15th, 2020. We are also going to go back to pass catchers, and in this game, there was a combined 16 pass catchers who caught a ball for both teams combined from either Alex Smith or Matthew Stafford. Let's name the 16 players who caught a ball during the 2020 Detroit versus Washington football game. Not Julius. Adam, you're up first.
Let's go Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones led both teams in receptions and receiving yards. He is on the list.
Let's go Golden Tate.
Golden Tate is not on that list. Early exit for Julius, so Adam has to answer one more correctly.
2020. Let's go TJ Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson is on that list, and that is a tie, ladies and gentlemen. It's like kissing your sister. We don't have a fifth category. Other people who caught a ball that game: Danny Amendola, Peyton Barber, Quintez Cephas, Antonio Gibson, Marvin Hall, Jay James for Detroit. I don't remember who that is. J.D. McKissick, Terry McLaurin, Adrian Peterson, C. Sims for Washington, S. Sims for Washington, DeAndre Swift, Logan Thomas, and I. Wright for Washington. I don't know who any of those guys are. Anyways, that was fun. That was Stump the Schwab. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That was fun.
Good.
We'll do more. We'll do more.
I like that. I loved it. I loved it, actually.
We'll do more. We'll do more. Other than that, let's get into the game. What immediately comes to mind when we hear Detroit versus Washington playoffs. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's the 1991 season. I was 1 at this time. I have no recollection of the game, but it's all I heard for 30 years. We go in, we get the 2 seed, we smoke the Cowboys, and then proceed to get dismantled by Washington. But boys, this is not your father's Detroit Lions football team. How are we feeling heading into the game? Adam, lead us off.
I'm feeling great. A little bit nervous. Someone made me come to the realization what my exact feeling was. I'm sure a lot of these Lions fans are feeling this. And we're all confident. And the fact that we're all so confident makes us feel just a little bit uncomfortable because maybe last year a little bit with the Rams and Bucs, but even then, both of those teams were, I feel like a little bit closer in talent margin as to where now we're the 1 seed coming off a bye. Playing the 6th seed, rookie quarterback, new head coach. So there's a lot of different, variables that go into it. But I'm feeling pretty confident. Julius, would you answer? I got a question for both of you guys, so I'll just bring it up now. Answer it whenever. What confidence level / just like game this season do you compare this to? So like, are you feeling like you were feeling when we played the Packers for the first time in Lambeau? Or are you feeling how we felt when we were playing the Texans or the Bills or whoever? But what game makes you have similar feelings to this game? Are you overly confident like when we played the Jaguars where everyone just knew we were going to steamroll them? And we did. So for me, I kind of lean like, I know it didn't really go our way, but the Texans, where it's like, we definitely should be able to handle this team. They haven't looked the hottest. I think the outcome is going to be completely different, but just leading into that game, I felt, even though we were on the road, so that's a little bit different, but nonetheless, my confidence level is about the same as it was to when we were going against the Texans.
That's a good question, Adam. And Houston is a pretty good comparison because they have a young quarterback, kind of unproven. Well, he's not that mobile. No, he's not Jalen Daniels mobile, but he got weapons to throw to. But honestly, I cannot think of a game that compares to this emotional wise. You know what I'm saying? Last year when we made the playoffs, for the first time in the Campbell era, won the division, that was all brand new. We went against the Rams. We had already had a successful season just getting to the playoffs, winning our first division in 30 years. But we had to get past Stafford to kind of prove it. We did. And then, the Buccaneers, this is just different because we had a bye. We're favored by a lot. Confidence running high. Losing this game would be the worst feeling in the world. So I really don't have a comparison on that, Adam.
I like it.
Okay. Here's how I would put this. I'm super anxious. I'm not nervous, but I am I'm not nervous because of the Washington Commanders. I'm not nervous because of the Detroit Lions. I'm nervous simply because it's a playoff game. There's a lot at stake. This is win or go home. The way I would answer your question is I feel very, very similar to how I felt going into Minnesota Week 18. Because, in my opinion, that was a playoff game. We needed to win that game. And we'll take a bye week in between, but it was a playoff game. Now, Washington, I think they're very similar to Minnesota in the sense that they might be frauds. They beat one team who made the playoffs this year in the regular season, and it was the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's a divisional game. So, we know how close divisional games can be regardless of what the teams are. Other than that, they haven't beat any teams that made the playoffs. Now, they did beat Tampa Bay in the playoffs, but you know how many teams with an over 500 record Tampa Bay beat since September, since they beat Detroit? 1. So it's like, how good is Washington, or how bad was Tampa Bay? Should Tampa Bay really been in the playoffs, or was Atlanta that bad? My thought process here really comes down to this Minnesota game where it's like, shit, if we lose, like, fan base is going to be going wild. It's going to be crazy. Obviously, if we lost against Minnesota, we still had another game no matter what. But here, if we lose, it's over. But that's still the feeling I get. These guys are probably frauds. We should handedly beat them. But just because of the stakes that are at hand, I'm very anxious and I'm nervous. So that is how I'm feeling along with answering your question. Is that a suitable answer?
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep moving on. We're going to go right into something we do normally at the end of the show, but we are going to do it right at the beginning so we can just kind of get it out of the way. We're talking about our injury recap. We are going to start with Adam. I forgot what team I assigned you, so take it away.
I have the Lions.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone kind of has already seen it. The big one, Kevin Zeitler, our starting guard, is out. Kind of interesting how this happened because we had this game wrapped up and he really did pull his hamstring on like the last play or second to last play when we tried to get JMO the 1,000 yards. And not saying, it couldn't have happened on a run play or some normal play, but he's 35 years old, man. Like him, Decker, we should have had every old player. Like I understand keeping Goff in there, Gibbs, whatever. Monty was playing, but the older guys should have been out. It is what it is. I feel like if this was the conference championship game, he'd absolutely play. But we're playing the 6th seed. Dan Campbell knows his players. Hamstrings are tricky. Jahmyr Gibbs has dealt with it. If he can get an extra week of rest on top of the bye, that's all the better. So I'm pretty confident Zeitler comes back next week when we make it there. But Pat O'Connor, another guy that's already been ruled out. Just solid little depth piece, nothing to, freak out about. I don't think it'll be too much of an impact unless we get a Bears plague injury-esque game where it seems like guys are going down every other play. Then we might miss him. But right now, I think that's totally fine. And then the other one's Enos Rakestra, questionable. He's looking to make his return, I guess. He's been out for like 6-7 weeks. It's been quite some time since Enos has been back on the field. If he is healthy, I'm not sure he would play much, especially with Terrion, Amik being healthy, and Iffy and Brian Branch being able to, rotate in the slot and cornerback. And then Taylor Decker, full practice all this week. I know some people might have been concerned because he skipped practice, but his wife had a baby or is having a baby. So congrats to him. That's why he was out those practices. Terrion Arnold was a full practice. We all saw him get rolled up on the ankle injury. Looked scary. I want to say he was either carted off or immediately taken to the locker room. Yeah, so it was not looking good. And then we got the news that he said he was fine. He was going to play, but we really need to see the practices first. We saw him all week, full practice every day. So he's 100%. And the piece de resistance, Mr. Knuckles, is returning. And granted, a lot of people might be thinking, no, Jahmyr Gibbs has been doing so good, so good. Just to get that chemistry back, that 1-2 punch, I am telling you, there were multiple games where I wish so bad we had Montgomery. And no knock against Jahmyr Gibbs, but if we need 1 yard on the goal line, I'm giving it to David Montgomery every single time and not thinking about it. Jahmyr Gibbs might be a lot more talented, but Monty is that I will get you 1 yard no matter what. And to have him back, I think we see the impact immediately.
I think we saw Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and Scotty Montgomery kind of agree with you on that, while seeing a lot of Craig Reynolds on 4th and 3rd and shorts, more so than I thought we would have with Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think they understand that too. If it's a short yardage, we want Craig or Monty in there. Just a thought from something I noticed. But we'll move on to the Commanders' injuries. Julius, what do you have for us?
So the Commanders currently have a pretty clean injury report as far as players that matter playing in this game. That doesn't mean that they're healthy per se. No NFL team is healthy this late in the season, but they've only ruled one player out for this game. That's backup linebacker Jordan McGee. They have a couple questionable with illnesses and tight end Yankoff coming off the IR. They're all reserve players, special team players. However, they have several starters dealing with injuries. They have Zach Ertz, who's like 50 years old. He's just had general aches and pains. That's true. He does know a couple things. Former Lion Zach Ertz. Brandon Coleman starting left tackle. He's dealing with a shoulder. Deron Payne, finger. Bobby Wagner, also 50 years old, has ankle, shoulder. And linebacker Frankie Lavu, he's having a pretty good season, banged up shoulder as well. Marshawn Lattimore, who's been questionable the last few games, ended up playing in the wild card. His hamstring is a little so take a look out for that. Mon-Ra St. Brown stock probably up on the rise. And Zane Gonzalez, he was made famous for his nervous reaction before his game-winning kick in the wild card game. But he has a little – exactly, Nick. He moved that hair. That's gonna be me tomorrow night. Actually,
dude, I'm gonna have no
God,
fingernails left, dude. I'm gonna have
my hair is just gonna be.
What is your guys'? Do you guys have a nervous tick?
I bite my nails.
Nail biter, Julius?
Yeah. I got restless leg syndrome, so
I
will shake the house with my legs, bro.
I'm a bit of a nail biter too.
Yeah, Zane Gonzalez, like I said, he has a little tweaky hip problem going on. So they're healthy, but they're not healthy. So
okay, all right, we'll take that. I wish there's a little bit more injuries, but we'll beat any team, whatever team comes in our way. That's no problem. We'll keep it moving over from injuries to a little stat and tidbit for any of our astrologers out there and or moon worshipers. We have some moon stats from our friend, courtesy of our friend Mike Payton. It's a waning gibbous moon. Lions are 2-1 in the playoffs during a waning gibbous moon. However, the only loss that we have had in the playoffs was last year versus 49ers. We are 3-0 this season during this moon. The Commanders are 4-2 all time in the playoffs, which is like moons from many moons ago. But regardless, both losses did come in the divisional round, which is where we get them this week. Do you guys have any, is there any, do you guys read into your signs or your what is it, astrology symbols or whatever it is, this moon? Do you put any stake into it at all? Or do you have a little tinfoil hat or not at all?
A little bit. I know my brother is big on I don't know if you guys know that Mercury retrograde, like that happens every now and then. And I kid you not, whenever shit hits the fan, if it's like my dad's business, something we get in a car crash, something like that, I always ask my brother, hey, is Mercury in retrograde? And he's literally said yes, like the last 5 times. And it's just weird stuff happens when, the tides are turning, the moons are out. So I don't think so, but part of me thinks, I don't know, do some players will they get like a little energy boost from the moon? Or I don't know, but I don't think it will be enough to sway anyway.
Okay, just curious, and it's fair to laugh it off. It's fair to laugh it off, and I think it's fair to truly take some stock into it. But Julius, let's see which side you're on.
I am on the side of the not astrologists. I'm not really big into the stars. I'm big into the stars and the moon and outer space, but I'm not big into it having effects on my life or the things around me in that kind of form. It's interesting. It's interesting stats. I want to know who has a losing record during these moons, but I'm not really big into the zodiac and the stuff. Yeah.
I am big into the Zodiac movie, though. Did you ever see the Zodiac Killer movie?
Great.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's pretty interesting.
Jake Gyllenhaal does so good in that movie. All right. I just wanted to get that out there. You know what I mean? I just wanted to kind of see where we were at. Let's get to the actual game. Let's talk about one I think the most pressing things that's going to be in this game. 4th downs. This is crazy. So Detroit, we all know we've gone for it the most times out of all teams in the playoffs. We were 4th this year in 4th down attempts with 33, converted 22 of them, 66.7. That's good enough for tied for 6th best, tied with the Rams, 6th best in the NFL conversion rate. For any sellers out there, salesmen, we know it's all about conversion. It doesn't really matter about how many calls you make and all this. Start converting. Well, let's talk about conversion because the Washington Commanders they've gone for it 23 times, so 10 times less than us, but have made it 20 of those 23 times, converting at an 87% league high amount on 4th down. That is crazy. 20 out of 23 times they've gone for on fourth down, and they didn't get it 3 times. That's nuts. We all know how big fourth down is to Dan Campbell and both of these teams. It's a hard question to phrase, but I guess basically, Adam, just how important is fourth down, without stating the obvious, going to be in this game, and why?
If this is a 1-score game going into the fourth quarter, I think whoever wins the fourth down margin or conversion rate or whatever, I would even group in, third and fourth into that, because I feel like there will be a few times where it'll be like 3rd and 9 and Jaden Daniels will get a 10-yard run, little stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's huge. I think a big reason the Commanders are so good at it is Jaden Daniels. He's so elusive. We saw it in that Bucs game where he absolutely just stiff-armed, I think it was Levante David, and he just got the edge where you thought he was dead to rights, was about to take a 5-yard loss on a 4th and 2, and next thing you know, he's whipping around the corner. So I'm very curious to see how Aaron Glenn game plans that, or if they just, concede it and just, hey, if you want to take your runs, take your runs. We're going to hit you, and it's going to build up, and just try to wear them out by the time the fourth downs really, really matter. But ultimately, if the Lions can just get honestly 50%, I think we're set. But I really do think if the Lions go, 0 for 3 and the Commanders go 3 for 3, that very well could be like the ball game.
Okay. Julius, do you have any comments on the fourth down and how impactful it can be during this game?
I mean, it could be the difference between winning and losing. I think the reason that the Washington Commanders are so effective on fourth down, just looking at the stats, seems like Jaden Daniels is just really, really good at getting out of the pocket, scrambling away from pressure. They even like to do their own little version of the touch push if they're an inch or a yard out. I was looking at a log of their fourth down conversions. Over half of them, I believe 12 of them, was over a yard and a half out. They were getting up on the line and pushing Jaden Daniels over. So, I mean, we've done it. The Lions have done it a couple times as well. It's an effective play when you're really close. So they've learned how to do it. We got to stop it. Aaron Glenn, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for the defense. Those are the plays that win or lose games. We've seen it. So if they go forward on fourth one time and we stop them, it's like an interception. It's like a fumble. It's a turnover. So we'll see what happens, but I believe the Lions have the edge just because I believe they have the edge in head coaching, Dan Campbell.
This is why I love Dan Campbell. This is why I love that we went forward on fourth down against Green Bay at home instead of kicking that field. This is why I love we've been going for it on fourth down. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Last year's NFC Championship game, when everyone called for a lot of people's heads after the amount of fourth downs that we went for instead of getting the points. It all accumulates to this point in time right now, because not every game you're going to have to win the fourth down battle. There's going to be games where that's not a necessity and you can still win without it. This game might, like Adam said, might be that case. Whoever wins the fourth down battle, gets the best conversion rate, may win this game because of it. I have an assumption we see at least 10 fourth down attempts between both
teams. That line. So we going 9.5 over under. You're taking the over, Nick?
I'll take over 9.5. Julius?
I'll take over 9.5.
All right. Maybe I need to bump this up a little more.
I think 10.5. I would say under. I say 10 on the dot. We're gonna have 10 on the dot. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be crazy. And the reason I like that we go for it so much in the time is just gets our players in the mindset. We just have been there. And Washington has done it 23 times this year, but how many times have they done it when it wasn't a tush push? According to Julius, it sounds like only 8 of the 20 they've converted-ish is from a non-tush push. So it's like when it's a 4th and 3 and they have to have it, how good are they going to do? It's going to be a Jaden Daniels run. We all know it. And when everyone knows it, he still may get it because he's that good of a quarterback, but the odds go down. Right. It's not Jared Goff running on 4th and 3. Right. No one's expecting that. Like, that's a Ben Johnson Hail Mary call. It'd be crazy. But So I'm excited. I want to bring the attention of how good. I don't think a lot of people knew how good Washington was on fourth down. So I just wanted to make sure I brought that up to anyone listening, us here too. But we'll keep it moving. Detroit, we're going to talk a little bit about like defenses and how I think they even each other out. It's kind of crazy in my opinion. Detroit has allowed the second most passing yards. Or no, I'm so sorry. Let's not skip it. Detroit has allowed the second most yards per carry to opposing quarterbacks, over 6 yards per carry. They've allowed a league worst average of 4.9 or oh my gosh, where am I? So Detroit, hold on everyone. Let me get two things convinced over here. Detroit has allowed second most yards per carry, over 6 yards per carry. Jaden Daniels has the second most rushing yards by a quarterback this year with 891, averaging 6 yards per carry. That's all I was trying to say. How do we stop that, Adam?
I don't know. I don't think we put a spy on Jane Daniels. I think there will be a lot of plays where he's just going to get the 3rd and 10s, even like a 3rd and 17, and turns it into a 4th and 2. It's going to be those short down conversions. Probably what the most crucial aspect of these 4th downs and just being able to stop the Commanders is going to be Ford Field. They were, I guess, granted, they were in Buck Stadium last week, but that's nothing compared to what they're going to see at Ford Field. I want to turn multiple 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s into 4th and 6s that pushes them, into the range where it's like, maybe we should punt this. So Ford Field, get rocking. I want to break that 134.2 or 3 or whatever it is. Even if it's by 0.01, just break it, baby. It made a huge impact when we played the Bucks, even when we played the Rams. So just stay loud and try to, force just little penalties, and it can happen.
So, all right. We need loud crowd noises to stop Jaden Daniels. I like that. Julius, how do we stop Jaden Daniels from running around?
So I'm looking at this in the sort of game that maybe we can have effect with like Justin Fields. Back when he played with the Bears, same kind of idea. And Jaden Daniels, he's really good at scrambling, and he has a lot of designed runs. They give him like 3 or 4 guaranteed a game where it's just his play, to run. And the Lions historically don't do too well against those guys. So, I can see Jaden Daniels having a successful or at least a lot of yardage on the ground against the Lions without beating us like Josh Allen did in Buffalo because of the killer play action and the run game that we couldn't stop, really. I don't see those things being big problems with Washington. So I think it's going to be a better game plan. Let him run around a little bit. He's going to get sacked. And those kind of players, they're turnover prone. And I know he's done a good job taking care of the ball, but he's been lucky. He won't get lucky against Kirby Joseph, Alex Anzalone.
Okay. All right. So my answer to this, I love both of your answers. My answer is you don't. You do not stop Jaden Daniels running. But what you do is what you've done all year and towards the passing game, which is you allow the most passing yards in the NFL, damn near, if not the most, which we're about to get to. It's what I've been trying to intertwine between these two. But you don't. You let him run. Just like Adam said, you let him run for 3rd and 10s, 4th and 17, 3rd and 17s, get to 4th and 2. Let him do that. Because what's ultimately going to happen is they're going to get into the red zone. And once they get into the red zone, we have one of the best red zone defenses in the NFL. And the field is not as open as it is. And Jaden Daniels running still could be a problem, but it's not as like Lamar Jackson in the red zone, where when Lamar Jackson runs in the red zone, you get nervous. For Jaden Daniels, I don't think we're going to have our secondary creep up as they would if it was Lamar Jackson running. They will stay poised, and they're going to make Jaden throw that ball in the red zone, even on a scramble. And I think we'll be able to defend that. So my ultimate answer is I do think we spy him. We need to contain the edge. Obviously, we need to not allow him to get Justin Fields 92-yard rushing touchdowns on us or by any means, but let him run. Like if he's going to run, that's fine. we saw what happened when we played Josh Allen and we got nervous of him running. Our cornerbacks and safeties bit. Thus, Josh Allen was able to throw these magnificent 50-yard passes on the run near the sideline against us over and over and over and over again. Don't let that happen. Let him run. Let him get into the bend, don't break area and just continue to play our ball. That's my theory on it. We're going to keep going with stats. Washington has allowed the 4th most rushing yards to running backs this season. Washington has allowed a league worst average of 4.9 yards per carry to opposing running backs, whereas Detroit has allowed the 2nd least amount of rushing yards to running backs this year. Now, Washington has allowed the 3rd fewest amount of passing yards to opposing quarterbacks this year, whereas Detroit has allowed the 5th most passing yards to opposing quarterbacks. So I found it, this is what I was talking about. I found it quite interesting that it's like our best trait and their worst trait, and then our worst trait and their best trait. And it's just like, it's a very, the puzzle pieces fit together. Do you think one of those stats has more to do with this game than anything else? And I'm going to start, and I could take the low-hanging fruit and be like Washington running back. I hope someone else talks about that. I think the biggest thing here is the Lions' 5th most passing yards allowed is simply just what I was talking about, a simple recipe from or resolution of the bend don't break defense. And I think that's misleading. I think just because we allow a ton of receiving yards or passing yards, receiving yards, doesn't mean we have a bad defense. Obviously, I think that, but that's just kind of what I was saying. So Julius, do you have any of these stats kind of stick out to you and something that could for this game?
I mean, I go back to your fraud claim on the Commanders with their putrid run defense. 2nd most yards per carries against their defense. The Lions could totally eat them alive on the ground, control the clock, and then it doesn't matter how well Jaden Daniels is scrambling around, because we could win the ball game 45-20. Because they can't. If you can't stop the Lions from running just a little bit, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. I think that's why everybody's so overconfident, because a stat like that is floating around. And I mean, it's just a writing on the wall. You're right about the Lions, like, oh, the passing defense. Very misleading. That's actually fallen a lot with the injuries. I mean, we got to bring up the injuries. Every team has them, but we got them bad, especially on defense. So the last 5 games, we've given up like 80, 90 more yards than we were in the first 10 games of the season. So I think Aaron Glenn has a cap on that. We got a couple guys back. Anzalone helps. I wish if we would have had Anzalone in the Buffalo game, we would have won, because it would have so many times he would not have been Ezekiel Turner biting on everything Josh Allen winks at. But Anzalone is back against Jaden Daniels. So like I said, I think that the Washington run defense, which has not improved and just continues to get eaten apart, will get eaten apart by the Lions. We have to take advantage of that advantage, or, I mean, that's the game for us.
Bucky Irving went 17 for 77 last week against Washington. Adam, any of these stats kind of stick out to you for this game coming up?
Took the words right out of my mouth, Nick. I was literally just about to say that. Bucky Irving, 17 for 77. And
turnover.
Yeah, Bucky he started off slow, honestly. His first few carries, he wasn't really doing much, and then it clicked. And that's what I think will happen if the Lions just keep pounding the rock, don't try to get cute. Going back to the Lions passing defense, part of that is teams are always playing catch up, or it's garbage time, or the Lions score immediately with a 50-yard JMO bomb, and then they get an extra possession. So I feel like there's a lot of just extra little numbers that have built into there. Not saying it flips the Lions to a top 5 pass defense, but I don't think they're bottom 5. So I think it's going to be a combination of both, where our secondary might look a little bit better. And then if we could just pound the rock, get up 2 scores, and just control this game, it's going to force Jaden Daniels to throw the ball. And that's kind of what we want him to do. If we want the rookie to try to beat us with, your arm, try to see the field better than our defensive coordinator, soon to be head coach Aaron Glenn can, or, all pro safeties and Kirby and Brian Branch. So if we could just control the game, the whole game into starting the fourth quarter, starting the second half, I think that will be one of the biggest things. I don't know if you mentioned it, Nick, but also the Commanders are huge on man defense. They are one of the biggest man defenses in the NFL, are also one of the worst. Jared Goff, one of the best man beaters in the NFL. So I think that's going to be a lot too. We're going to see a lot of JMO separation, Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta over the middle. And I really think it's going to be just a surgical game for Jared Goff with just some Gibbs and Monty sprinkled on top.
Okay. That'll be fun for predictions when we get to that in a little bit. I'm interested. Let's keep it moving real quick. There's not too many more segments before we get to the fun predictions game. If the Lions stick a guy to Terry McLaurin, Adam, would you prefer it to be Amik Robertson or Terrion Arnold, and why?
That's interesting. Part of me, I could go both ways with it. But Nick, I know you hate that so much, so
you took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm gonna go Amik. I think Terrion, he could hold up to the moment. Terry versus Terrion also kind of sounds kind of cool too. So there's that. But Amik, he just shut down literally the best, top 3 best, whatever. We all know how great Justin Jefferson is. And he played great. There was multiple pass deflections he had. He should have had an interception in the end zone. He was all over him. And granted, some of this might be because he just knows how to play Justin Jefferson because he's played him in high school and college and multiple times before. So that could be it too. But Amik has probably the most confidence, honestly, in this on the defense right now. And granted, Kirby, Branch, and everyone's confident as hell. But Amik is coming off his best game of his career where he got his first ever game ball. So I think you absolutely let Amik try to shut down Terry. And if he starts and does it, just there's the game plan for the rest of the game. If he doesn't, I'm not saying pull him off immediately, put Terry on him, but just maybe give him some help. Or, if it really goes south, then try putting Terry on him, or even, Brian Branch or something like that, which wouldn't shock me if Aaron Glenn pulled out some sort of crazy little, scheme where we haven't seen before, kind of like what he did with the Vikings, where he kept switching from man to zone, and it had Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. So I think Amik is the right guy. Confidence is at 100 right now, and he probably feels like he could shut down Calvin Johnson.
I love it. Julius, if we had someone shadow Terry McLaurin, not to say that we will, but if we did, would you prefer it to be Amik or Terrion?
I prefer it to be whoever Aaron Glenn and
no, that's a bogus answer. If you were Aaron Glenn, who would you put on Terry McLaurin if you had to shadow someone?
I put Amik Robertson on him just because of the hot hand debate. I do believe in a hot hand, and Terry McLaurin does, half of his damage out the slot. So Amik Robertson, definitely, he's a slot corner. He was our starting slot corner for most of the season. He still got that. He's still exactly right there. He still got something to prove. And I think he wants to follow up on that Justin Jefferson performance and really try to get his hand on a bag here in the playoffs. I would go Amik Robertson just off that. Like I was saying in the beginning, though, Aaron Glenn, Deshaun Townsend might believe that Terrion Arnold is the better matchup against Terry McLaurin. And if they truly believe that, and that's who they go with against starting out against Terry McLaurin, Terrion Arnold, I'm totally okay with that because I trust his coaching staff. I trust Dan Campbell. And honestly, Terrion Arnold has something to prove too, just like Amik Robertson. If anything, he's getting forgotten, he's getting doubted, and before long, he's going to prove all of us wrong. And it could be the Commanders game. The Commanders game could be the Terrion Arnold game. We've been waiting on it.
Hey, Arnold. Yeah, you said Amik, though, so don't try to back it talking now. I'm going with Terrion Arnold. The kid is the cornerback one of the future. Who knows if Carlton Davis is even on this team next year? Amik is really good. Let him play against Justin Jefferson every single year. Do you guys think that the front office knew about Amik Robertson
Oh, I
guarding TJ or Jay Jefferson in high school? Like they had to have, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure Amik told them.
What?
I
No, when
mean-
he was a free agent from Vegas? No, before we even signed him. Do you think they were like, dude,
Yep, they knew.
that's crazy? Because that's awesome. That is some in-depth
He's in our
scouting.
division. He's in our division. They had to know that.
That's crazy if that's the case. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm going to go Terrion Arnold. He's our cornerback one of the future. He is going to be our Darius Slay. We will have him for the next 10 years. I promise you he is going to be the guy.
He's got to have a coming out party at some point.
Hell or hell, or what is it? High or hell water? I can't remember what the phrase is, but it don't matter, dude. Don't matter. Just get Arnold out there for better or for worse this year. Let him face up against Terry all game long. Let's just see what happens. I don't know. What we were reading those ref stats. Those ref stats didn't seem too bad for pass interference, so I'm not too worried about Arnold.
He's calmed down quite a bit on it too. He's looked really a lot good in his last few games.
Like, he just plays tight, and the refs are like, I don't know. And now we're kind of getting those calls, so it's like, we'll keep it going.
Exactly.
Let's keep it moving. Then what was my next one? I was gonna say, do you think? Oh, okay. Who? We're gonna start with Adam. Do you think carries the ball first for the Detroit Lions? Who records the first carry of the game? Doesn't matter who, but just who do you think? And then I'm curious on what you think the split will be between Montgomery and Gibbs this Saturday.
I think it's going to be Montgomery. If this was next
the first carry, you're saying?
I would say Gibbs. But if we have Montgomery, we get the opening kickoff. They give us the ball. We want the ball, whatever. Whenever we get our first possession, when Montgomery trots out there and not Gibbs, the crowd is going to go ballistic. And if he does any type of hard hit, even if it's for 1 yard, anything, the crowd will be – I mean, I expect the crowd to be in this game the whole game. But this will be like the tone setter, hey, do you hear this? This is going to be all game long, and this is for our player. And I know it's going to be weird because you tend to try to be quiet on offense for your team, but yeah, I love it. Montgomery's going to be the tone setter. Let Jaden Daniels know. It might be a little bit different because if they get the ball first, he'll get a little taste of it. Let Jaden Daniels know what this crowd truly is. And it's nothing like the SEC, nothing like Alabama, LSU. It's a whole different ballgame. These fans arguably are probably more diehards than your biggest diehard Alabama fan. Lions fans at this point would give anything to just keep winning, keep where we're at. So I'm going Montgomery, and then I think it goes back to a 65-35 Gibbs split. I don't think we're just going to throw Monty in there. I do think he's pretty close to 100%. His injury was pretty bad, which is the tricky thing. But he practiced all week long, had the bye, said he was going to play, and just seems like he is 100%. So I do believe him in that sense, but Jahmyr Gibbs has proved that he's just you got to give him touches. And the more touches Gibbs gets, the more opportunities you could get for, a house call. And Montgomery, granted, can do your house call. We saw it last year, and I think even this year we've seen some big, 40-yard runs, catches, whatever. But Gibbs is just so electric. Give him, his 65, even 70% workload. Let Monty work those 3rd and 2s, that goal line carries. I really think Montgomery's going to go back to that touchdown dude where if we get inside the 5-yard line, it's going to be Monty every single time, unless he fumbles, makes a mistake, does something stupid. But we know David Montgomery, and he doesn't do that stuff. So I'm so pumped he's back.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see what Julius has to say. Same question. Who gets the first carry, and what do you think the split load will be between the two?
I think Jahmyr Gibbs will get the first carry. I wouldn't be surprised if it was David Montgomery. However, I'm going to give Jahmyr Gibbs the 80-20 split. I kind of been studying the Lions' offensive performances this season, and they've had a lot of big ones. And usually in those big ones, it's a player that you don't expect to have a big game has a big game. And I'm not saying people don't expect Gibbs to have a big game, but he's coming off a How many touchdown game? 4 touchdowns. He could do that again against the Commanders. He could definitely do that again against the second worst run defense in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs in space will take that ball 80 yards. He will take it 60 yards. So I think honestly, I'm betting Gibbs in this game. I'm betting the over in this game. I think he can go over 100 rushing. I think he can go multiple TDs.
Yeah,
I'm
boy.
going Gibby with the
I don't know what that
80-20
Skelly
split.
is, but I love that.
So the
I
Vikings
love
favored
Monty.
it.
I really do. And it's just so much uncertainty coming off that injury. Like, I really don't. The one hit, and it might be like, ooh, it might come right back. You know what I'm saying? And then you back to Craig Reynolds, just like that. And I don't want to jinx nothing, of course,
Sure,
but you just never
fair.
know with the uncertainty. So I'm riding Gibbs, the best running back in NFL, going off on this trash Commander run defense.
I'm going with one of each of your answers. I think Monty does take the first carry. I do think Gibbs takes an 80-20 split. I think it's like 25 carries to 5 carries, really. I don't think Monty gets up. Guys, even before this injury, we were giving Monty a lot of runs,
He was, yeah.
He wasn't it. He wasn't the Monty of last year, boys. 4th and 1, 4th, whatever and 1 on the goal line. Yeah. I'm going to want Monty in there every time. Basically, he's my Jerome Bettis. Let Rashad Mendenhall, a.k.a. Jahmyr Gibbs, who obviously Gibbs is way better than Mendenhall, but that's kind of what I'm leaning towards now. Gibbs is the best running back in the NFL. I've said it for 10 weeks in a row. I'll continue to say it. There is no way we go 12 carries for each running back this game. There's just no way. I can't fathom that. But it's Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell, and they love Demo. So we'll be interested to see what happens. A few more things to go over. Last thing about the Lions-Commanders game is being recorded as the most expensive game in NFL history, excluding any Super Bowl. The average ticket price to get in right now is $991. I did just see some lower bowl seats for about $780 before fees, so it'd be about like $1,000, maybe like $950 with fees for lower bowl. That's too much, right, guys? This is too much. This isn't good.
Did you guys see the parking dilemma?
No. What's up with that?
So there was 3 parking garages, structures, or whatever that were trying to charge upwards of $1,000 to park. And thankfully, the city of Detroit, I don't know who made the final call, but they pretty much shut that down. I'm like, no. You're not price gouging this much. So
dude,
they shut it down.
Spots to park in Detroit for free, too. Just don't be a loser. Go park for free, dude.
Yeah, walk a little,
Walk a little. Golly. We're all fucking like in the movie Wall-E.
Still, it just goes to show how outrageous, these prices. Yeah. Ugh.
It's too much. Julius, I mean, right?
It's crazy amounts of money. I mean, that they know that people are going to spend. That's why they charge it. Just park in Brush Park, take a nice little walk.
Yeah. Do we think the tickets go down? Is there a point next year where divisional round playoffs, we're in it for the 3rd year in a row? Are they average ticket being more like 600 instead of 1,000 or no?
It depends what happens with the Lions. Yeah. If they win the Super Bowl, they are gonna
just continue.
Oh yeah, it's gonna go up next year.
It really makes you appreciate the 30 years of debauchery and losing that we had, where you could get in for $25 on the day of and be like, "This is great, dude. Let's go Lions!" Woohoo! Now there ain't nothing like that. All right, real quick, let's look ahead. Just saying we beat Washington. We are playing either the Eagles or the Rams. Julius, do you have a preference on who you would face?
I do. I have a personal preference.
Yeah,
and
biased.
I have a biased preference because if it is the Eagles that they face, I will most definitely be in attendance at Ford Field for that game with a close friend of mine. It'd be great to enjoy that game. And I'm not scared. I'm not scared the Eagles. I'm not scared of the Eagles. I invite the Eagles just like I invite the Commanders. So I prefer the Eagles. I prefer us to march to New Orleans and leave the Eagles in the dust for Ford Field a second time. I don't want Matthew Stafford, really. I feel like this Matthew Stafford thing is getting old and washed. I don't feel like hearing about it. Matthew Stafford going to be salty. His wife is going to show up to the city salty. She going to get booed again. She going to be salty again when they lose again. Just give us the Eagles.
I agree. I want new blood. Also would be nice, just to beat the best. A lot of people would come at the line. Oh, you guys had a cupcake schedule, the Commanders, then the Rams, blah, 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 blah. I think we could, I'm not really afraid of either. But what I am a little more afraid of than the Eagles is Sean McVay. And playoff Sean McVay is just a different beast. This dude he's a very, very good head coach. And Nick Sirianni, he can be a good coach, but he also can be a very bad coach. And I feel like the Lions would be able to get into Sirianni's head and just kind of make him make his mistakes, as to where McVay would just play his game the entire way, make it tough. Like the last 2 times we played the Rams, it was 3-point victories in the playoffs. And then week 1, they were tight wins. And both was week 1. Week 1 was in LA, right? Or was it Ford?
In Detroit.
Okay, so yeah, both in Ford Field again. So they are familiar. The Eagles are not. I mean, they probably know Ford Field, and they played there. I think we played them. It was a stretch where we played them like 4 straight years, and I don't think we did last year or maybe even the year before. But regardless, I want new blood. We haven't faced the Eagles all season long. I think that we might even match up a little better than the Rams. So give me the Eagles. I think it would, give the Lions a little more of a spark, as opposed to like Rams again, where I feel like some players would be a little nervous. Like, can we do this 3 straight times? I don't know. Eagles, that's what I want.
Okay. So I agree with what you're saying the players would think. I would be scared of beating a team 3 times in a 20-game span. I would be nervous that. I think Kirby would love revenge against Matthew Stafford and would go, and Hockenson would be, or not Hockenson, Higbee would be so scared to catch a ball. It would be an interesting game. If the Rams and Matthew Stafford beat the Eagles, they will be riding a huge high, and I don't want that. I don't want that. 2 road games for them to win. I know the first one was home, but it wasn't home. It was on the road. 2 big road wins. I don't want that. Eagles, we get the revenge game, or we get the storyline, Darius Slay versus the Eagles. We get that. So there's still a storyline in there. You know what I mean? The media will still have something to talk about. We do match up better with them, I think, with their run heavy offense. Bring it. And it would be another fun story of the Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Carter situation, because again, we passed up on Jalen Carter, traded away our pick, and ended up getting Gibbs instead of getting Jalen Carter that year. So that would be an interesting run itself. We also passed up on Nakobe Dean a few times. I don't know if he'd be playing.
He's not. He's been ruled. He's been ruled out, but I know he had a pretty bad injury. So
yeah, he had a bad injury, so I'm not sure if he's playing. But regardless, I'm just saying I also welcome Philadelphia. Let's move on. We're going to have some score predictions real quick for every game but the Lions. Adam, you're up first. Houston versus Kansas City. Who wins? What's the score?
I am going to go 23-13 Chiefs.
And Julius, what's the score? Kansas City, Houston.
I'm going to go Houston 24, Chiefs 23.
34-23, did you say, or 24?
24-23 Texans.
Texans. I'm going to go 27-26 Kansas City.
Ooh.
All right, Adam, Baltimore, Buffalo. Score, who wins?
Looks like it's going to be a snowball there. The Buffalo got a lot of snow. Second time actually in NFL history that we've seen the number 1 and number 2, a first team All-Pro quarterback getters, I guess, face off against each other in the playoffs. both MVP candidates. I wish so bad the NFL would come out and say MVP's going to the winner of this game. So I'm going to go Buffalo. I have a little Buffalo love in me. Part of which just because, they haven't won a Super Bowl either. They've been through some dark days, and it would be cool just to meet the Bills in a rematch in the Super Bowl. And also, Grandma's a huge Bills fan, so that would keep her up and up. But score prediction, I think it will be a low-scoring game. It's not going to be what a lot of people think. Touchdowns back and forth. I think we're going to see Josh Allen Lamar do the thing. I'm going to go 20-17 Bills.
Julius?
I'm going to go Baltimore 20, Buffalo 13.
I am the only one who still has a Super Bowl preseason prediction alive. As we remember, Julius had Lions versus Jets. Adam had Lions versus Bengals. I had Lions versus Ravens 31-30, and I still believe that is going to be the correct outcome of the season. So I have to take Baltimore, and I will say Baltimore wins this 22. This is the best game to get some weird scores. So give me 22-18 Baltimore. Rams, Philadelphia, Adam, what do you got?
I think this will be a close game. The Rams might be the hottest team in the playoffs right now. But I feel like the Eagles are just going to want it a little bit more. It's in the link. Philly's a tough place to play in. Outdoors, Matthew Stafford, he's been good outdoors, but if it's cold there, it could cause him some problems. I'm going to go Eagles 27, Rams 24.
All right, Julius?
I don't think it's going to be as close. I'm going to go Philly 24.
It's a late 4. That was a late 4.
Philly 24. Los Angeles Rams 6. Matthew Stafford lays an egg.
They did beat them 37-20 earlier in the season, but that was also in LA, and Eagles won 37-20. So, and Saquon had 300 total yards. So,
I also put out a tweet in November. No, I put out a tweet sometime, okay, right after the Rams beat the 49ers. I think it was a Thursday night, and I think the Rams won 12-9. Okay, super low scoring game. And immediately after that, I put Rams, Lions will meet each other NFC Championship game. I'm calling it right now. And everyone got on that train. Everyone got on the hate train for that tweet. And they were like, the Rams just scored 12 points at home against the shitty Niners. How in the world would you think that they're going to make it to the NFC Championship? Go look it up. There's a plethora of people who hated the tweet. Thought it was a hot take. I've told you already in this show, but multiple times, division games are crazy, but no stock into that game. The Rams will beat the Eagles, and the Rams are going to win this game 12-9.
Nick, one of these days you're going to nail one of these wacky score predictions.
It's going to be a snowball, 12-9, 1 field goal made, 3 extra points missed total. That's how it's going to be.
Right.
Both Rams extra points are missed. Eagles miss an extra point, but do get a field goal. 12-9, final score. Now let's quickly get to a key to victory for the Lions Commanders. I'm going to start us off this time so I can steal everyone else's key because we never talk about what our keys are. My key to victory is the secondary of the Lions. I said this earlier, and I'm just going to kind of reemphasize it. You cannot bite when Jaden scrambles. I think that's how I think we lost against Buffalo. Sure, Allen made just amazing throws as well. I'm not trying to put anything about what he did out. He scored 48 points. That's incredible. But ultimately, I think we bit more when he went to scramble and ultimately lost control of our coverage, especially our linebackers on Ty Johnson. But I think our secondary, I'm not even bringing up the linebackers because now we got Anzalone back. I think it's going to be better matched. I think our secondary, I think Arnold and Amik and Enos, if he plays, or whoever wants to play cornerback, Vildor, cannot bite when Jaden scrambles. That is my biggest key to victory. Is secondary, stay home, guard your guy. I said it earlier. Let him scramble for the bend portion of the field. Just don't break when we get to the break portion. So that's my key to victory. Secondary, stay home, stay calm, stay collective. Julius, got a key to victory?
My key to victory is turnovers. I think as long as the Lions don't have a lower turnover differential than Washington, if they commit less turnovers than Washington, they win this game. They win this game easily if they do not turn the ball over. Nothing else can stop them offensively but turnovers. And right now, Detroit sits at a healthy +9 turnover differential. Washington is at an even turnover differential. So historically through this season, we've done better than them in this regard. I just don't want to see, the wacky Jared Goff, 3 interception.
The bunkle, dude.
Yeah, even though we can still win, of course. Oh, we run for 350 yards, but Jared Goff throws 5 picks. There we go.
Justin, right now, Justin on the spot, dude. Just
the words right out of my mouth.
Just in time. That's what I like.
Goff, if this, what's the odds we win another game? He throws 5 picks, 4 picks, 3
Not
picks.
Good.
Not good, especially in the playoffs. My dog Jared, I don't see any pressure breakdowns at the offensive line this game. They do got some strong. They do have a strong defensive line with Allen and Deron Payne. Montez Sweat went to the Bears, correct?
No, yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize the time. Julius, great call. Adam, quick. What is a key to victory?
I agree with kind of Julius there. Turnovers is going to be huge. We saw. I'm piggybacking off this. Baker Mayfield had a fumble, and that's essentially was the turning point in how the Commanders won. So turnovers huge. I like that, Julius. But what I think is going to be more important is put them away. I don't want this to be a 1-score game entering the second half. I want at least 2 scores. I don't care if it's 9 points. I don't care if it's 27 points. I want a 2-score lead going into the second half and preferably into the fourth quarter. We've seen these Commanders come back and do insane things. The Chicago game, the late push against the Eagles, all sorts of just Jaden Daniels magic has happened late in the fourth quarter. This dude seems to be a bit of clutch. So if we can just put them away fast and not, have a 13-3, or I guess that would be 13-6 halftime lead where the Lions offense is clicking, but we just have multiple field goals. I don't want that. I want a 20-10 first half. Lions come out just pounding and take the life away from the Commanders.
Love it. Let's get to our predictions game. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Julius, we're not doing anything. We're just going right into it. Julius got 3 points. He is just killing it right now. Ultimately, Julius has 38 points on the season. Adam has 30. I have 28. Adam and I both need to just sweep the next 3 games to really give us a chance to win. I go first. Adam goes second. Julius goes third. I'm going first. Lions win 31-20. Offensive MVP, I'll leave Adam to his boy. I will take Jared Goff. Defensive MVP, give me fudge muffins. I'm just going to go Kirby. Adam, who you got?
Can't go wrong. I do think it'll be a high-scoring game. Over-under is 55.5. Point spread at 9.5 right now. So expecting the Lions to win easily. A lot of points. I agree with Vegas on that. I'm going to go 38-21. I think the Lions just stay in control all game long. This is going to be similar to some of these trap games that we had early on the season, like the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the 49ers, where it seems like they could be good. They might even come out, score the first touchdown. But the Lions, once we get rolling, it should be game over from there. 38-21. And then I'm going to go. You said it, Nick. Give me my boy. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs. I've said him the last like 8 times. It's worked out pretty well, especially last game 2 weeks ago. And then on defense, I feel like I got a zag here. I can't take low hanging fruit. I really want to go Branch, but Anzalone, man, this dude seems.
That's
so
who I was going to go. I was going to go Anzalone too, and I went Kirby instead.
He's the play caller, got the green dot. He puts everyone in the right positions, and I truly believe that even if he doesn't have the stats, even if he's not the MVP, he will be a very key catalyst to this defense.
Julius, close this out.
Lions will start fast and finish fast, and they will win this game 40-20. My offensive MVP is Amon-Ra St. Brown, the forgotten Iron Man. My defensive MVP, you took Anzalone, you took Kirby. Give me the forgotten man, Amik Robertson.
I love it. Adam, take us away, dude.
As always, check us out at Honolulu Blues _ on X, the everything app. Check us out individually at the Fifth Top for Julius, Everyday FFB for myself, and Nick Faber NFL. You guys can check us out on YouTube. Give us likes, subscribes, all that good stuff. And go not just Lions, but like Red Wings, Tigers, Bears, oh my, but go.